Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk with me then. I know it's a busy time of year.
No problem.
I was wondering if we could start with you telling us a little bit about your role at Pentagram and what it means to be a
Mhm.
partner.
Right. Okay. Um, s- so my role at Pentagram is I'm first of all I'm leading team and I'm was a partner in the Pentagram. So not sure like how many people know about Pentagram structure, which is quite similar to like a law firm structure. It's partnership system. So it's quite big sort of umbrella, but in the inside is actually a small 23 business running in the under the umbrella. So I'm relatively quite new partner, the team I'm leading at the moment. And if you look on Pentagram portfolio, it's most of them is more graphic and brand identity. However, our project is our intention for the team is more bringing into the sound side. So it's not only sound design, like also like covering all like different fields, like, such as product as well, installation, everything based on the sound.
Hmm.
So this is my continuous practice since before joining Pentagram. Relation with sound and also how valuable to use communication tools as a sound. So which is my mission in a Pentagram.
Okay.
Then meaning for me being in partner, it's first of all it's great freedom because I do believe Pentagram is one of the most generous and great opportunity for other sort of platform for the creator to building in the career.
Yeah.
So I, it's very pleased part of this structure. It's almost like an incubation in the way that developing like a brand new practice and so on. So of course, I have 10 years history doing my own practice.
Hmm.
However, um, being in Pentagram is really about the incubation, how we can aggressively develop more. So, which is, yeah, incredible opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. So how does how does work get briefed into your team? Is there a
Sorry?
strategy? How does work get briefed into your team? Is there a strategy
Mhm.
department and a sound element then it comes to you?
Yeah, basically, yes. So also Pentagram is also not very cooperative way. I think it's all about relation with other partners as well, because if you can consider incredible like creators, inside of the company. So some company require to do sound design. For example, more sonic branding. That's one aspect. Some partner asking me to do it, and another one is sound design itself,
Yeah.
like such as interface design, because UX design and interface design does require a lot of sound
Hmm.
design as well. It's have to present both. Also, like if you can consider about electric car, like most of country by 2030, they shift into petrol, gasoline car into electronic. And then electronic car doesn't have any sound aspect, which is in terms of safetyness, it's going to be quite important part. So we do cover many opportunity of sound design at the moment, and which is, to be honest, as a sound designer, very exciting time.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like it. Okay, so it's a bit of a collective element to Pentagram where you might collaborate over briefs
Mm.
and kind of cross pollinate ideas, right?
Yeah, if you can consider as sort of like no competition in the company because everyone's so different and
Yeah,
how we can collaborate together. So that's absolutely beautiful way to work,
yeah,
and which reminded me back when I was studied as well in a classmate, and we used to collaborate together for some projects. So it's for me, it's really back to sort of school as well, because
yeah,
you have a colleague or some senior partner is more, sort of tutor in a way. So it's really a great way for learning.
Yeah, that's amazing. There must be a wealth of experience, knowledge, and creativity there. How many partners
Absolutely.
are at Pentagram?
I think now it's 23. Recently, my mentor, Daniel Weil, he left company quite recently.
Yeah.
So I think it used to be 24 and now it's 23.
Okay. What are some of the other partners' domains that you like to collaborate with the most?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Do you find that you collaborate with some partners more than others?
Um, it's hard to say because equally I'm like till now I worked closely with like Sasha Loeb and Astrid Stavro and Jodie Hudson Powell, Emily Oberman. So and also one project I've done through Porashare as well. So it's happened constantly, and also we have more exciting collaboration lineup coming up with Matt Wiley as well.
Yeah.
So I think not particularly one partner, but
Okay.
we luckily has got great people to work with all the time, and each partner has got totally different way for working and also creativity. That's very excited me a lot.
Yeah. Okay. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to speak to you, is I was interested to hear about the creative process for the work that you do, and to see how similar it is to the process that I would do in product design. So I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about what does the process look like for you in terms of getting briefed in on something and then going around the exploration and seeing it through to execution.
Yeah. So one more time, what's the question? Like,
I was wondering if you could
sorry.
tell me or talk me through your creative process, how a piece of work begins, and
Yeah. Yeah. I think because it's not really standard way I'm working, because to be honest, inside or outside Pentagram, we're quite bizarre how we work. Um, Sometimes client is 100%, very about me. Like sometimes you can design whatever you want, or like do anything you want, or some specific brief coming in, such as working with other partner as well, more of a sound design, and as well as we do self-initiated project. So as a percentage, we actually designing like almost like a brief as well. Sometimes approaching to the client, because more, but I think most important part for my practice is really about relationship, even with client, because first of all, I had to really respect the client because I love their product or service, and that's most important process. Otherwise, you cannot really do any good deliver of the work, I believe, because if you feel like this company is wrong, I don't want to do it, then it's not healthy relationship. So in the past, how I do project is more about kind of friendly level for conversation. We can try one project as more research-based project in the beginning, and once it's become success, they could more think about involvement for the cooperation part, and also scale going to be bigger as well. For example, one example, I do love one company who is doing amazing product development, and we help for some aspect for the interaction. Then or marketing, we helped, and that was a small project. And then now we're approaching them as I do 100% love your product, also service. However, we feel like brand identity is not doing well. So that's purely, in my opinion, as not selling, ourselves. It's all about what's beneficial for company, because it as I'm loving the product a lot, and I feel like this career doing wrong now. So why not us to helping? So
Yeah.
that kind of way, I think more healthier way, like instead of like, yeah, this is great, and then it's nothing really worth it for the company, but we are thinking about this must be beneficial for the company.
Yeah.
So that first phase, like we're creating brief, like I'm just coming up sort of dream project. I think this must work well, and approaching to the company, and sometimes works very well as well.
Yeah.
So something different from standard way for the creation, we actually creating brief ourselves instead of like a passive way
Yeah.
sometimes.
Okay.
So
So that's interesting then. So the first step is building a relationship with the client, getting to know the product, and I guess it sounds like you're trying to get a feel for how you could add value through your unique skill set in a creative way.
yeah, I think yeah, based on this, like once I'm making brief, already set content, what the mission is clear,
Yeah.
and the vision is also clear as well, then I'm start working with my team member to more about first of all like a brainstorming what to be delivered, and the second phase will be fabrication as well, and then to compare with other team in a pentagram or other practice, our team is very small,
Yeah.
like only 3 include me,
Okay.
and which is quite efficient because first reason we cannot specify detail of the work each time because we don't have routine, each time totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So which is very hard for us to recruiting people more permanent member in our
Yeah.
practice, so we'll be very small. And the 2 key people in my practice is Gabriel, who is one of the assistant, and but almost like he's creative director for my practice anyway.
Yeah.
And also another person called Maxwell. See, he's more doing sound side fabrication,
Okay.
but as well as management too. So these people very skilled, very efficient, and like in terms of fabrication and production, they're absolute professional.
Yeah.
So like lived, we divide because we like tend to running 3 or 4 projects same time. So we do have like kind of 3 people like managing bits of bits and
Okay.
make project to be happen. So yeah, I think that's pretty much process, and quite, I would say quite democratic in a way, because most of the idea development coming from conversation, it's not only um, dominated by my own idea in the way.
Yeah.
It's very open to the team
Yeah.
and what kind of idea could develop. And also, I think to giving more rich content or greater idea, I tend to invite external person, even just coming for 1 hour to giving us some idea,
Okay.
or like just talk in a way, like not about sucking idea or anything. It's all about just friendly conversation for lunchtime, and get the inspiration from the person. And as a almost like consultants in the way, like we pay for you know their time, and
Yeah.
just for talk, that's actually giving a lot of freedom, a lot of kind of idea for us.
Mm-hmm.
And something I had to mention, like I really don't like in the past as an independent artist and designer, so many agency asking for free for coming and can you inspire us, but honestly, in a respect, have to pay for that because
Yeah.
it's taking time for as a job.
Yeah. It's
So we tend to be right things. It's is a person that doesn't, we don't need anything, but we just want to contribute something, at least money, or like some food, or like anything.
yeah.
It's that's respect to the creators, I feel. So yeah, that's sort of like one of the process.
Okay. So again, it sounds like it's relationships are very
Mm,
important. You've got a small,
mm,
tight knit team of people that you you know and you trust and you understand their skills. And then every now and then you might bring in a different expert to bounce ideas around with, and kind of ask them to join you in a creative process, it sounds like.
I think hardest part for my practice for this 10 years is finding right person to work with, and which was hardest task actually, because now I'm very happy to found someone very trustable, first of all, and quite respectful. So I think that was very, very important for our, my practice, I think.
Why was it difficult trying to find people to work with?
My impression as a human being, like everyone, it's not very dedicated in the way, and also combination of the characteristic as well. Even I remember we hired a couple people in the past, and pretty much very unreasonable job they provided, and they charge us a lot of money. And it's hard to say, because even not on the creative level, like I hired horrible accountant or horrible lawyer in the past, did nothing, and even make it much more worse than originally things. So I just realized like quite untrustable as a service and the people. So that's why I think we carefully choosing people, but at the same time, there's not much like straight answer. Anyway, since I joined the Pentagram, we hire quite a lot of people, and they're actually quite bad as well. So,
what is it that you're looking for in a creative collaborator?
I think first of all, like I think I would say self-initiated, and the secondary dedication is so important. I think this task, and how much they're passionate to finish project, and if anyone doesn't want to do it, they shouldn't do it. That's totally wrong on the process. So some people consider as a sort of experience, but at the same time, if you work for someone, have to contribute something. And also that's actually dedication, like work. It's kind of bringing up like career, and also, basically kind of beneficial for everyone. But some people doesn't really consider that, unfortunately. And so which is very hard. But once I found that we work more tightly, and I think like a trust level and everything, like I 100% respect, because our team is, I'm not like boss in a way. I'm kind of flatly same level for everyone in terms of the sort of like kind of authority in a way. Like there's no authority, everyone has got kind of louder voice, and we try to make a decision quite democratic way. However, I had to make sort of a clear direction for the team. That's my role. So
it's interesting again that when I asked you what is it that you're looking for in a creative collaborator, you're mentioning attitude and personality and work ethic as opposed to skills.
I think so. I think attitude is so important, because attitude or like passion or dedication can cover most of the part, because creativity can develop, quite easily, I feel, because if you stay with us at least like a half a year, probably can know like what we are looking for as a creativity. And also, yes, like and also skill as well. Probably like some people doesn't have enough skill in the beginning, but it's a kind of half a year is enough time. If people has dedication and a passion for the work, can learn quite quickly. So that personality is so important, I realized, rather than career.
I agree.
I felt that.
You can't teach people enthusiasm, and if you are enthusiastic, then you get the experience and the skills quickly anyway, right?
I think I experience a lot, even some people like doing good work, but the attitude is wrong. I think it's become quite toxic in a way in the team. So we really have to be careful for the selection of the people.
So you said that learning creativity or learning to be creative is actually quite easy and something that people can pick up. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I think, for example, like currently I do have one internship in our team, and I do think he's potentially going to be quite a good designer, I think. And however, I was spoken with him yesterday, and he kind of like, I gave him one task, but he kind of can mention 5 or 6 reasons he cannot do. But I asked him, why not try like without stopping to do something? And that's a way to tackle people to, bit more open or like kind of start progress, I think, because that I can feel he's stopping himself to do something new kind of things. So I think it's not only creative process. I think it's nice to challenging new things. If it doesn't work, just you can look back what's wrong and it's coming back again, and you could covering it why like it didn't work out, and the point you failed, then like you back to here and redo again. So that's kind of passion. It's quite nice to doing it. Some people said this is my limit, I can't do more than that. Then okay, so that's fine, but this is something probably doesn't really suit our team, because we want to have someone like more challenging, more more like interested our practice. Because to be fair, like what we do is very fun, not really crazy administrative job or anything. We each time we having project that's almost dream project. Like many people asking me how you can maintain business based on that kind of fun project. I'm also feel like so lucky for that. So it's nothing boring job we are asking for. But if people actually like stopping creativity or like limiting it, then okay, so you better to find maybe work little bit more systematic or not do much. So I don't know. It's hard to say because we are not very routine or anything routine based business. Each time brief is different, and sometimes kind of so much task is coming in the short time. But as a team, like especially Gabriel, he's amazing efficient to finishing project at really certain time is the best result. So yeah, so it's, I think, which is some point it can be do really efficient way, but to reach in that kind of time might take time. So does it answer the question? Sorry.
Well, it sounds like what you're describing is that you're trying to help, in order to help people learn the creative process, you're trying to help them remove the barriers that they put up in their minds. So when they're coming up with...
Yes, I think so. Also, I'm person to have much opinion for that, but I know objective opinion, what works, what is not working. And sometimes that's bring people to black out, because I give no direction, giving direct brief from client to the people, and can do something based on this. Then if anything coming back, we could develop some result. So, but some people need specific direction. So that's a bit difficult, because I could give a direction, but that doesn't respect to creators, because creators not slave. Shouldn't follow everything what I gave. So some people feel extremely difficult because I'm not giving direction. because I'm not really control freak, and also I feel like results should be collective decision always, and also many people's opinion making much more better project, I feel.
Yeah.
So in the way, yes, I feel I sometimes people put in the kind of absolute darkness or like some blackout space and can do something and without any description. But some people fit well because people have got very good, decision making or like amazing idea sometimes. So and I mean, I'm not sure like what standard design practice or creative practice work, but we basically kind of removing barrier, put into somewhere absolute freedom in a way.
Okay.
But of course, I'm giving direction because if it's too much, like I have to control that. But however, this can be limit and it can be like extend, so we can like building up kind of project and idea, I feel.
Okay. So you give a brief. So that's kind of like the strategic direction and I guess a description of what the outcome needs to achieve. And then there's just like a big gap. Then there's a big space to play and be free before you interject to then guide towards the end. Yeah. Okay. Can you talk to me a little bit about what a brief might include? Because you guys are writing the briefs with the clients.
One project I mentioned is one company we worked for bit marketing side. And then again, like the product is amazing and they have a very amazing historic achievement. And to be honest, it's quite prestigious in the way. However, as a user, as a fan of their product, I feel like they're not doing well. I'm not mentioning company name, but not doing well in terms of the branding side. It's not clear image of the company. Everyone know about the word and the name of the company and what they have done in the past, but not now. So basically approaching to the company, how we can redesign, first of all, like your rebranding and also whole image, and also using kind of a heritage of the company and how we can kind of people to know more about that company. So it could be graphic element or kind of product design assets. So that's basically brief. It's quite vague in a way, but my way was working really big side, having conversation for the sort of how we can process, then like really going towards one specific goal. So that's how we work, I think.
All right. There must be a lot of trust that the client has in you and in Pentagram for you to be able to propose such ambiguous briefs.
Absolutely. But I think most importantly has got relation. We must deliver best work as possible in the past. And it's not, to be clear, like what I'm working, it's not heavily rely on Pentagram name or anything, because it's more about relationship continuously, like myself and the client. And of course, like Pentagram, I would say Pentagram, one of the more, I feel like it's not about company I belong to, but I do think Pentagram is doing amazingly well in terms of the quality of the work past couple of decades. I would say like that's must have huge trust in there. But most importantly, me and the client's position is more important, more like a relationship, and also not only friend level, also like we professionally deliver best result. Then like that became trust. Then like we can go next step, and then people has got trust on there.
So it's the results and the quality really sell themselves, and that's what people are coming to you for, is because they know that they'll get something to a high standard.
But some clients just emailing me like, can you do this kind of project? But I'm more keen like a relation building with existing client and tightly work together and building good like relationship. So that's
Okay.
more I'm interested, because I'm also selective as well in that kind of client, because I want to spend more time. Also, I love product a lot. Then very driving me like best result as possible. So
Okay. So you're quite selective over the briefs as well then.
well, if it doesn't really fit our team, it doesn't make sense anyway, because it's not beneficial for the client, because it's much better to asking for another company, because once we find that this probably doesn't work for our team, then I recommend probably like you can get a better result and the same amount of money to asking for like other consultancy, because we just feel want to deliver best result for the client. So
Makes sense. Yeah.
mm,
Okay. I'm interested to hear a little bit more around what you would describe as your leadership style within your team.
mhm.
Have you thought much about that?
Well, yeah, in terms of leadership, I'm probably most not useful person in a team, because first of all, I'm not really I'm dyslexic first of all, so I'm very bad at writing.
Yeah.
And secondary, I have terrible skill for sketches. So that's that actually like bring me to like not leadership in the way, like people supporting me rather than
Yeah.
leadership.
Okay. So is that why
However,
you,
that I think that's great things as well. I feel because I just want to take as like other people's benefit, because I'm
yeah.
kind of doesn't really cannot do anything.
Yeah.
So I think more freedom in terms of creativity for other team member, I feel, because if I can do everything, probably I can be control freak as well.
Yeah. Okay. Is that dyslexia? Is that like earlier on when you were speaking about how you initiate a
Mm.
project, you said that it's through conversations. You just talk. Is that due to the dyslexia or?
Yeah, in terms of communication, but in terms of like speaking with client,
Yeah.
probably like my English is not perfect in the way, but I believe client would understand what my intentions on. So sometimes email it doesn't really work, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was interested in how you would ideate and explore ideas
Mm,
as a sound artist.
yeah, it works more coming from conversation sometimes,
Yeah.
and I do have as if I do sound creation, sound design, I use quite a lot of synthesizers from old, like quite ancient time synthesizers, really came from 70s, all the things. And
Yeah.
actually, great things about that synthesizer, actually, you have to move your hand and finding out perfect sound. It's nothing about clicking on the screen.
Yeah.
So, which inspired me a lot, and also getting much more better ideas sometimes. So I think doing activity and active conversation or touching tools, I think that works very well, I think.
Yeah. Okay. This is interesting that you've built a really unique practice around your own strengths and weaknesses to, I guess, extend your talents. All right. And I suppose that's why
Mm.
it's so important that you find the right people to work with, because you do work in quite a unique way.
Mm. Yeah, it does require, I think some people probably like not fit at all our practice, because
Yeah.
quite strange way we are working
Yeah.
and quite intensive as well, I would say. Um, yeah, I think this before joining Pentagram, I have been running my own practice for 10 years. There's so much things to learn, not only
Yeah.
human side, it's also administration side and also money side. So many things that kind of painful way to running.
Yeah.
But now I know how creative practice as a business works as well, vaguely and quite low level. But I think that it's very hard to learn without any experiencing it, I feel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You've also spoke a lot about the necessity or the need to have like very high quality and very high standards. How do you go about driving a high standard and pushing the boundaries within your team?
I think just purely question is each team member have to think this is enough or not. I think because we don't have to over deliver things, but if you feel because client giving us opportunity and working on exciting brief and as well as kind of financially supporting it, do you think this is a reasonable job
Yeah.
for the client? That's very important. If I'm a client, will you happy with it? I'm just keep questioning to myself and also my team as well. So I think luckily my team member is very we're sharing common sense. What
Yeah.
is good, what is not.
Okay.
So we self criticizing ourselves. That's quite nice, and I never have any concern in terms of quality in my team because they're doing above what I
Yeah.
expected all the time.
Okay. So it's not really difficult to deliver feedback because you're all on a similar wavelength and
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm lucky to have like similar common sense with my team member because some people say, nobody feel like, is it really the result or like that conversation never coming out.
yeah.
It's sometimes for like an internship coming out, but our own teams never have that kind of conversation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I have a few other questions that are kind of they're created to dig a little bit deeper into what your design philosophy is and your approach and attitude as a designer, which I'm really interested in because your work is so different. But if you had to describe your design philosophy and what you value as a designer,
Mm.
how would you describe those things?
Philosophy in a way. In a philosophy, which way it's more internal or like more attitude to outside?
I guess it's around how do you know an idea is great or not so great,
Mm-hmm.
and what won't you
Mm.
compromise on as a designer?
Mm. I think um, anyway, even I do art project as well for the museum or gallery sometimes or design. It's all about it works on the brief or not, fulfill the brief.
Yeah.
That's very important. I
Hmm.
think as a creator, I feel like deliver, it's all about service, I think. It's not only art as well. I used to do DJ too.
Yeah.
And the DJ is sort of a creator. However, have to please audiences
Yeah.
on the floor and people have to be dance. It cannot be self-initiated for everything. So tend to be, I'm more considering about how people gonna please about our creation, like
Hmm.
rather than my own ego, I think,
Yeah.
because that's very important. Because especially if we do public sculpture, I think this is not artwork. It's all about how people to interact, and also what's identity to put some sculpture in the public space. People have to be granted from 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 them. So I always consider how people gonna interact, how beneficial for them, or more fun experience people can get. I think that's self-considering how people pleased about it. If my own ego is probably deleted, but by that time,
Yeah.
and more about think about people in there. Um, I recently working on one project, which is also public sculpture project, and I'm standing as artist for that project. However, I became more considering for people visiting that place and how people interact with you know, the things. So one was my collaborator, who is mentioning about more about vision. However, to be able to communicate vision, we had to think about audiences. So I'm more about for artist perspective, some people feel quite offended, but however, I think that's more important, I think. So to sum up, I always considering rather than me, of course, like I'm doing my own creation, then how people feel and experience or how people consume what we created.
Okay. So would you bring people into the process to learn from them how they're experiencing it? Yeah.
You mean like more new designer or? Sorry, like I'm not fully understand the question.
That's okay. So the work that you're doing, you're saying that you will value this work based on what it means to other people and how they experience this work.
I think, of course, like it's coming to the word of resonation in the way I feel, like how myself feel and how other people feel. And of course, like making some decision should be sometimes subjective as well, because which is quite difficult to pleasing everyone.
Yeah.
However, yeah, but again, I think this kind of resonation could work for everyone. That could apply to bit more mass audiences.
Yeah.
Does it really answer question? Sorry.
Yeah, it does. It does. So is there a point within your design process where you will share your work with customers or prototype it in a way to be able to gauge what they are really experiencing?
Like more, but you mean more about the user research you're talking about?
Yes.
I think in terms of, I'm not sure about kind of our territory of the product, for example, or installation. It's all about like interaction design and or like sound design side. So interaction design is quite interesting because myself, I'm horrible about understanding system because my problem for dyslexic in a way, and I tend to make everything quite simple, which is the best answer for UX interaction design, because if in any complicated structure, I think that doesn't work as an interface or UX design. It should be something super, I would say more close to, you know, UX design is all about how we can make a new language for machines in a way. If it doesn't really resonate with our normal language, like human using it, that's going to be failure in a way. I can see bunch of like UX design, which is very complicated. Like then like my answer is always kind of, I would understand, for example, this UX design decision. That's, you know, one things I had to consider, because if I'm not understanding, that's going to be failure, because I'm probably the most, you know, like a, you know, I'm probably the person not to try to understand UX design, and I'm most conservative, most horrible way, like user tests. Then
I understand.
If I don't really do it, then like probably nobody understands. So that's where I came from, quite subjective view. But I do feel, because I have a disability, I think many people gonna understand better than me. So that's probably I'm using myself as a sort of.
That's great. Okay, so you are just particularly sensitive to complex ideas and difficult concepts. So you would gravitate towards ideas that resonate with you, which would usually be simple ideas. That's interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. Because same as the artwork as well. Because for example, like for example, public artwork and so on. So if you go to me, I'm like, first of all, I'm big fan of like what, you know, seeing contemporary art and so on. But as I have a dyslexic problem, some of the artwork is not understandable because it has got a massive text like that, understanding theory and also kind of insight of the things.
Yeah.
And I do feel that does make kind of like a war between like people as a community, I feel like, because some people would understand, maybe they have what kind of history of the art education or like kind of enough background to understanding theory or not, in a way. I'm always kind of categorized, I don't really understand, like in a way, but like some people can describe what it's about. So tend to be like some contemporary artists going in that kind of direction because theory is more important, or like that's the status for the owning artwork feel like intelligent enough or not.
Yeah.
But I do think that kind of a way of thinking making war between the people. So I think clear example what's happened to 2016 general election in the US. I think Hillary Clinton has been speaking kind of specific language, very difficult for people to understand, I feel. Like also campaign word as well.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm strongly against Donald Trump. I'm not fan at all what he does. However, he was very good communication.
Yeah, emotive language, right? Simple messages.
Yeah, and also simple messages. That's a way we can communicate better, I feel, because that's why like I'm sort of most of my project very welcoming, fun-looking, and toy and funny. Many people say that aspect, but internally, what I'm thinking, I try to not make any, like perception for the different people. It's all about even young or old or male or female, different culture background without any way for understanding. Everyone has got a flat same experience can get. So that's fundamentally I've tried to do.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got a couple more questions for you. I know you have to get off shortly. But we've already touched on your form of dyslexia and how that affects your approach and what you gravitate towards as a designer.
Sorry, one again.
So this question the question I've got for you now is to try and dig a little bit deeper into the way that you think and the way that the dyslexia manifests itself, right? So how would you describe the way that you think, or the way that you like to think, or the way that you're good at thinking?
I mean, like more strengths of myself that you want to ask for. It's slightly different.
Yeah, I know it's a difficult question. But yeah, possibly through strengths, like when do you feel that your style of, how do you feel that your style of thinking operates best?
I think, again, back to the question to, like, first of all, I have like worst way of understanding for system.
Yeah, okay.
That probably could be strengths as well. Like, first of all, I can't really read properly for the reading because of my background.
Yeah.
And I'm probably most impatient as well.
Impatient. Okay.
Yeah.
Impatient. So
for example, like if but that could be good for designing experiences, because experiences should be without. I think experiences like should be coming from more, very flat view and have to be instant and more communicate or like resonate instantly to the other people. Yeah. So that probably is a strength, I feel.
Yeah, I think so. You really dislike complex systems and you're impatient, but you must encounter these things throughout your work. So do you have tactics and specific ways that you would approach these things that make them easier for your style of thinking?
Yeah, I think, like, for example, has got complex brief coming in, first of all, questioning a lot for the client, because in the end, like complex like brief and question coming to very simple brief actually sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I think some people want to do kind of well communication more complicated and more, rounding the word and so on, try to reach to one goal in a way. But what I do, because I'm just opening say, like, I'm sorry, I didn't really understand at all your question. Can we more kind of series of question? But conversation, because if we have a conversation with clients, sometimes we can find a very important kind of core of the question coming out. So if it's not clear, always we have conversation. It's not about the email back and forth. It's all about talking with client. Even like this moment, we provide talking with Zoom, and we will find out insight, what's core problem. Then we can actually find a brief based on that. So that's probably the way, I think, because we just be honest. I'm just not hiding myself as a, I'm probably not clever enough. And can you describe? That's the way I do. So.
I like the response. It's a simple response. And so basically what you're saying is that you will ask questions until it becomes simpler.
And also, I think it's referring to web education for anyone, I think, because recently I haven't done teaching for a long time. And some student really has got a lot of words about describing one simple question. And I'm just digging into like what exactly you are asking for. Became just super simple question, or they just making wording to hiding their naive part of the idea. So that's I think that's simply the problem. I think it's communication should be quite clear. That's fundamentally I'm interested, I think. And same as most of Pentagram people doing that way, I think, try to be best communication system. If you see the lecture by Michael Beirut, he's very clear, isn't it? Like what the intention, how to communicate, and which is actually kind of really learning a lot, that process.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like everything that you've just said kind of ties together nice and neatly into it's about building relationships, getting clarity of understanding, getting a really clear, simple brief. Yeah. That's great.
I think it's adding on top is many companies in like a design consultancy company, they became more, thinking about more profit in a way rather than anything else, like not think about the company. And as I feel like very granted being the Pentagram, because our company, Pentagram, is really caring about what client benefit for, like rather than money. I think that's great things. I think right things to do as a company. I'm not criticizing the word of the design thinking and so on. I think that is kind of generated by the most efficient way for the design consultancy company to making money. And sometimes which doesn't give much to the clients, because I've seen so many problems for many company did, for example, like 300 grand design thinking workshop, then they didn't get anything. I think that's shouldn't do as a design consultancy company, I feel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Again, that makes perfect sense. If you're pursuing money, then you're looking for efficiencies and you're looking to scale processes.
Of course, I think running creative business is sort of like business anyway. Have to considering for something, how to make money in the way, but we're in a balance, best deliver and respect to the client, and benefit for both of us. That's something we are looking for. So I think that right mind as a company, and that's probably have to add and benefit being in a Pentagram. I think right mind people. I think
sounds like you're in a perfect place. Sounds like you found where you belong, which is great. Okay. So how about the final question then? What's your next challenge as a designer?
I'm still like not categorize myself as only designer. I do many different discipline in the way. I'm still doing music as well, and I'm still doing art public art as well.
Okay.
So my challenge is, I think, like, kind of it's really hard to say, because first of all, I'm not very, complain or anything where I am now. I think like such a great opportunity I have now, and the client is incredible, and I think,
You're just enjoying doing what you're doing.
Yeah, but same time, I think really not challenging, but how we can, living with like a new time, like post-COVID time. That's quite interesting in a way. We naturally challenging ourselves for each brief anyway, but we used to do a lot of public sculpture and public installation a lot. And this year, everything disappeared because of the COVID. Because highly like we involve like human touch into the communication. Then we shifted our practice into more like web-based experience this year. It's become quite good success, actually, because we did 3 strong projects this year, and more coming out next year. But one is for Global Sound DMA.org, and which is actually people to contributing sound. And we did for Roland, the company, to making platform to making music. And another project that we did at the end of last year is kind of face the music kind of way. So we shifted like that way. Then probably next year, some point, coming back to, because vaccination was there, like probably taking 1 year, but then like our life come back again, what used to be. So that kind of transitions, I'm more interested, like rather than challenging, I think, how we can, kind of cope and so like, like work with that situation. So it's going to be like an interesting bump or like something happening. So that's going to be quite exciting, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting how COVID has it's come and changed all of the constraints, and it's changed the environment, and it's allowed us to be creative with those new constraints in that new environment, which is really interesting to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I'd love it if you wouldn't mind forwarding me on some of the links to some of those recent projects that you mentioned.
Yeah. I can send you over. But sadly, like most of the project hasn't been online, so that's kind of frustration, because we did so much interesting work, but sometimes we cannot show. But some of the projects we can send over as well.
Cool. Yeah, if it's live and you're free to share it, then that'd be great. But otherwise, thanks for your time, Yuri. It's been really insightful. I learned a lot there.
Thank you.
So
thanks so much.
Have a good day. Enjoy your Christmas and stay safe throughout COVID.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
See you, Yuri. Bye.
See you then. Bye.